What's cracking and Happy New Year's, everyone. My name is Ryan, aka Skeeb23, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my first experience with a Meze product, and that is the Meze 99 Classics. Now, this is a closed back dynamic driver headphone that retails in right at around $309, and you can get this in either silver or gold accents. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the build and comfort of the headphone. All right, so build-wise, the 99 Classics are just 260 grams in weight, which is pretty impressive because these are walnut wood on the cups. Now it does terminate to dual 3.5mm connections to the cups, which is really nice because that makes it very universal for different cables. The headband system is the real winner here. This is a steel spring adjusted headband system. So I'm going to put these on my head and show you that there is no mechanism to click or adjust. They just form right to the head and they're going to spring back or forth depending on the size of your head. The clamp force is going to be really, really good. Cushions really, really well. And then there is a pleather type headband on top here. But as I said, you know, the steel spring system is just super convenient and something that you're going to find in the Meze line of headphones even as you go on up. And I am very impressed with the build out of that. Inside the box of the headphones, you're going to get, honestly, the first thing is the box is super nice that you get. But then inside, you get a nice leather case that does have a zip mechanism on there. So you unzip it, you open it up, you get this nice little case inside there along with the headphones and that little small case that comes with it. It does have two different cables in there. Now, the one cable that's standard, it is a 3.5mm, again, to the cups by a 3.5mm on the other side. It's a very long cable. And then you get a second cable in there that's also, of course, 3.5mm for the cups, but then terminates the 3.5mm on the other side. And it also has an inline mic and remote, which is really nice for traveling and things like that, to be able to use the headphones in more of a portable type solution. As well as you also get a 6.3 adapter for single-ended for different amps and things. And then the last thing you do get is an airplane adapter as well for when you're on some flights and take a trip. Also, before I forget, I will let you guys know that these are 32 ohms and they are 103 dB of SPL per milliwatt. So this is going to be super easy to drive. You're not going to need any kind of powerful headphone amplifier. In fact, phone, laptop, computer, things like that are going to drive this perfectly fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Perfectly fine. And you're fine. Okay, moving on. So before I move on to sound, I wanted to take a minute to remind everyone to please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And give a like to videos like this if you're enjoying my content. I am working hard to get better with each and every video that I put out, and hopefully you guys agree. Alright, now let's move on to sound. So I could easily just sit here and say that these headphones are all about bass and be done with my impressions right there. When I first opened up these headphones, the first track I threw on was Wiz Khalifa's On My Level, and I was like, damn, okay, bass, check. But then I made myself stick to it and listen to some more tracks, and really that's what I want to talk to you guys about is some of the versatility of these headphones and my experience with that. Now, it does have a very large bass bump in the lower regions of the bass, so, you know, let's make no mistakes about that. However, I want to give you some track impressions right now. All right, so the first track I'm going to mention is Travis Scott's Highest in the Room. Now, anybody that's heard that track knows that that song has got some bass, so you might be wondering why I chose that to talk to you guys about. And the fact is, yes, the 99 Classics takes that bass and just goes up another level with it. But at the same time, there's some hi-hats that come through in that song, and they come through really, you know, crispy on the 99 Classics that I thought was pretty interesting. Vocals on that song were definitely not very forward. In fact, I was starting to get the impression that maybe this is not a vocal forward headphone. And so I will talk to you about that some more as I get further into the tracks that I'm going to discuss. And then on to the next track was Paper Trails by Darkside. Now, this track is interesting to me because this is really good to test out the low end, but also to test out the high end. The vocals on this, you know, his voice has so much bass to it, and I think they purposely did that to give you that extra oomph on the low end. Definitely does that with the Classics. But then his voice also has sibilance at the same time. And that sibilance definitely came through on the 99 Classics. Not to say it's a sibilant headphone, but that it has some of that spark up there in the treble region, to where I had started to get the sense that this might be kind of a V-shaped tuning. I mean, definitely has the V-shaped on the low end and definitely is getting some on the high end. The good news here is I don't think the mids are scooped out necessarily. They're just not emphasized, if that makes sense. And again, vocals weren't very pushed up and pushed forward. So then on to the next track, and that was Go-Go Penguins, Erased by Sunlight is the next one that I sampled. And I sampled that one because that track at the very beginning does have a piano that can, sparkle through pretty nice. And it did on the 99 Classics. Actually, it sounded really well in the 99 Classics. Also a snare that was coming through at the beginning. But then towards the middle, it definitely starts to get busy with all the different instruments going here. And then the end gets really busy and quite honestly became cluttered on the 99 Classics, which kind of told me that, this is not necessarily an analytical type headphone, which I kind of knew that, but this kind of answered that for me. So then on to the next track, and that was Black by Pearl Jam. I love this track. I love the vocals of this song. I just love everything about it for the main thing. But then I also listened to the unplugged version of this to get some kind of sense of space and stage and that kind of thing. And what was interesting here is definitely vocals are pushed back. So I do think that does happen with the 99 Classic. However, there is some stage and some space, and that was interesting because this is a closed back headphone, and I'm not used to hearing stage quite so good on a closed back, to where I could say this was actually pretty decent and imaging as well. It's just the track itself, Vedder's voice and everything else. I mean, his voice can sound so good on a vocal present headphone, just not quite as much on the 99 Classics, I would say, on that track. And so the reason I chose this approach on this headphone is because when I had read into it, I knew it was a bassy headphone, ahead of time. And this really led me down a path to learn that there's some other things about this, such as the space and stage of it. And even the imaging is really good, which took me to my next part, which is gaming. I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 recently, again, I should say, and I wanted to listen to it on this headphone because that game's a very wide and spacious game. It's an open world. There's a lot of sounds going on around you. There's people screaming at you left and right all the time, telling you to move out of the way, or I saw what you did, and things like that. There's gunshots. There's, the patter of hooves as, horses are going by, and, all the different sounds that you get in that game, and just really comes through really well on the 99 Classics, to where I can say these were pretty fun for gaming. Definitely not for competitive gaming, though. They're way too bassy for something like that. But still, it is a fun type headphone for that because of the stage and space and imaging. As for power, you can drive this off pretty much anything. I will give a good recommendation on some budget IFI products that actually work really well with this headphone. You can look them up yourself. There's quite a few of them out there, but there's other brands that make some good budget options as well. The reason why I said IFI is because I like their X-Bass X-Space feature, although I don't think I would be pressing that X-Bass button on the 99 Classics. That's probably not a good idea. No. All right, so overall, I view this as a fun-flavored headphone, something you can take with you on a plane since they have the airplane adapter, and just relax and listen to some good music on this. I definitely would not pigeon this to a, rap, hip-hop, R&B, EDM type headphone, although, of course, those genres are going to sound very good on this, but there are some other things that you can do with this. Now, one other probably negative I would say is I don't necessarily think we need a 9-foot cable like they give you out of the Meze, but I suppose if you wanted to jump rope while you're listening to music, but I mean, seriously, that's a small issue, and the fact that you get 2 cables with it is great anyway. So a lot of good things to say about this headphone, other than, if you are not a bass head, then you probably want to steer very clear from this because there is tons of bass to be had here. All right, so that wraps up my impressions of the 99 Classics. I thank you guys for watching. I will let you guys get back to doing whatever it is that you do. And I'm going to go and experiment some more with my Chemex and find some different ways to make my coffee. Yeah, I'm pretty hooked. All right. See you in the next one. You're some kind of butterfly.